1978 The Amazing Spider-Man TV series. Starring Nicholas Hammond as Spider-Man. Season 1 Episode 3, The Curse of Rava. In the Bolt Museum, Trina is walking the hallways, when we hear voices talking about the idol of Rava and the curse that accompanies it. The voices are of the Museum Curator and Mandak, a Rava religious leader. Mandak started to chant the idol's name, and it begins to rattle. This scares the Museum Curator. Trina saw what has transpired. Suddenly, a sword flew out of a glass case and crashes near the curator. The men then saw Trina. Mandak seems to know who she is. Mandak decides to leave. Outside the museum, people are picketing the return of Rava to the nation of Kalistan. Peter Parker arrives taking photos of the situation. He introduced himself as the Daily Bugle's photographer to the guard, who guides him in to view the exhibit. Peter then takes photographs of Rava. Mandak returned to the museum with a couple of his followers. Peter meets Trina. He learned that she is an assistant curator helping with the Rava exhibit. Peter senses danger. The protest outside started to heat up, and the protesters tried to force themselves in the museum. Mandak is behind the incident. Peter has changed into Spider-Man to help with the situation. Spider-Man placed himself between the protesters and the museum. He did his best to discourage entry to the museum. Mandak has telepathic powers and plans to cause an accident. Spider-Man was able to save the guard from a falling stone piece. Other guards came out of the building to help up their comrade. Spider-Man flees the scene. Mandak upset that his plans are foiled. Captain Barbear is in the scene investigating the incident. Daily Bugle editor J. Jonah Jameson also arrived. He is involved with the Rava exhibit. The museum curator suggests to close the exhibit, but Jameson does not agree. Peter then saw Mandak, sensing that the man was up to no good. He took a picture of Mandak, to further investigate later. At the Daily Bugle, Peter is showing Jameson photos he took of the rally. Jameson, who is part of the board for the museum, is not happy with the photos as it will give negative publicity to their exhibits. Jameson decides to buy the photos from Peter, so that no one can print them. Rita releases the payment. She was amused that Peter managed to get a payment from the stingy editor. Jameson was called by the curator to the museum. The curator expresses his fear of Rava's curse. While they were talking, Mandak was observing them. Mandak made it appear that Rava was moving some museum pieces. These scared both men. Finally, the idol fell down on the curator, injuring him. Moments later, Captain Barbear arrived interviewing Jameson. The editor relayed his experience to the police captain. Barbear find the story hard to believe. The captain then interviewed the guard and Trina if they have an idea on what's happening. Captain Barbear said that Jameson is a suspect and had to be brought to the precinct. Jameson is in jail. Peter arrived trying to help his editor. Peter has slyly convinced the captain to release Jameson by saying that the Bugle was doing a flattering article on Barbear. Rita arrived to pick up the editor from the precinct. Peter met up with Trina trying to do his own investigation. He was curious about the idol Rava. He learned from Trina that the nation of Kalistan was previously ruled by the priests of Rava. Returning the idol to the nation will cause civil war, as the cult of Rava will try to regain control. Mandak is in the museum with Captain Barber. He is demanding that the idol is returned to his people. Barber said the idol is evidence and will not be released. Peter arrived in the museum grounds. He saw again Mandak and began to sense danger. Peter then saw Captain Barber leaving the museum. He warned him of the possible danger around Rava and his followers. Captain Barber drove off. Mandak and his men followed the police captain. Spidey trailed them on rooftops. Mandak used his power to mess with the captain's car. Barber went in an alley to check what's wrong with his vehicle. Mandak mind-controlled Barber's car to chase him. Spider-Man was able to save the police captain before his car could crush him. Mandak dismayed that his plans were foiled again. Spider-Man tried to follow the cult leader, but he was able to drive off. Spidey then saw the paper's headline that Jameson was jailed. Peter went and visits his editor. Peter plans to help Jameson, if he could just get the photos he sold to him. He has a photo of Mandak there. Peter wants to investigate this person more. Peter asked the assistants of Rita to retrieve the photos from Jameson's office. Peter brought the pictures to Captain Barber, who was able to identify Mandak. Peter states that there is always a mishap that happens when Mandak is around, and that they need to further investigate. He was able to convince the captain. Peter's investigation brought him to a professor who is convinced that the incidents experienced by Jameson and Captain Barber was done through the power of telekinesis. Trina was abducted by Mandak. It is revealed that Trina's lineage is that of a high priest of Rava. Mandak needed her, and began to use his mind power on her. Trina was forced to do Mandak's bidding. The next morning in the museum, Captain Barber learned about the missing idol. The guard told him no alarm sounded when the idol went missing. Peter suspects Trina's involvement and confronted her. She came clean. Peter began to piece things together. He has also enough evidence to clear Jameson's name. Peter convinces Trina to testify, so that the charges against Jameson will be dropped. She was afraid, but Peter was able to comfort her. Captain Barbet and Spider-Man are both after Mandak and his followers. Spider-Man gave the captain some information that will help them retrieve the idol and capture Mandak. Spider-Man sneaked in the Kalistani consulate where he learned the idol will be located. Spider-Man and Mandak faces off. Mandak's telekinesis is very formidable. Unfortunately for the cult leader, the same power was his own undoing. Jameson was cleared from all charges. The curator fully recovered. Captain Barbet turned over Mandak and his followers to the Kalistani government. The idol remained at the museum for the exhibit, and Peter got his front page photo for the Daily Bugle. Thank you for helping GeekWatch reach 100 subscribers. It would be our pleasure if you continue the journey with us, as we aim for our next milestone, 500 subscribers. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, please click on the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up like, ring the notification bell, write your thoughts in our comment section, and please share the video for others to join our watch. When we reach 500 subs, 2 lucky Geek Watchers will get a chance to win these superhero Funko Pops.